All right, so we have moved our printer in through the doorway, and now we're ready to reinstall the bed. Included will be 4 of these set screws that we're going to use as indexing pins to help us get it lined up correctly. So just go around to all 4 of these uprights and just give it a couple screws, a couple turns, and on the outside mount screw hole, and then go around back and do the same thing in the back. All right, we have our bed ready to reinstall. Make sure you have the motor, so it's going to go on the back, and your home sensor in the back. And it's a 3-person job, 1 person in the back, and then 2 people feed it through. And then come forward a little bit. And feel around for those indexing pins. Back a little more. Okay, so we are going to put in 1 screw on each first. So the rearward screw where you don't have the set screw pin in. Go ahead, get that started. We'll get this one started. And then we'll take our Allen key for the indexing pin, and I just have a magnet here. I'm going to magnetize it a little bit. Just rub it on the wrench. And then we'll use this to pull out the set screw pins. Just like magic. Alright, now go ahead and put your other screw in. And we're just going to get this started as well until we get all the back screws in, and then we'll go around and tighten them all down. Now we have all the set screws removed and all 8 of the mounting screws in place. So we're going to go ahead and crank them down nice and tight using a T-handle, 4mm T-handle. Okay, now we are going to connect the power and signal leads to our bed drive motor. Same thing as before. We're going to start with the power, and it's keyed a certain way, so just pay attention to those slots. It only plugs in one way. And then get back through your access panel and tighten down those 2 flat heads. And now your signal cable doesn't have any screws, so just plug that in. It's keyed as well, so make sure that you get it plugged in. It will only plug in one way. So if you're having trouble, the screw terminals are going to be facing the back. And then after you have that secured, those two connections, reroute your wires and zip tie them to the mounts that we disconnected them from earlier. Okay, so I've routed this whole bundle of cables up towards the front. They all look fairly similar except for one, and that's labeled media sensor. That actually goes to the back. So we're going to go ahead and feed that back towards the back. All right, now we have the media sensor cable ran towards the back, and I'm back around on the back side, and I'm just securing these cables in the channel. And the most important part here is getting the cables and one of the little covers secured as it goes by this rail. So I'm just taking one of the medium-sized pieces, and I'm going to run it into the channel. Just kind of get it lined up on both sides, and then snap it into place. Like that. Alright, now we're back around front, and these are all the connections for the buttons. Take the longest piece of filler strip and run it back to where it meets the medium piece you just put in, and line it up. And just snap it into position. Alright, now we're going to put our cover and buttons on. Be sure to connect your eject sensor. So it's labeled PL sensor. So we're going to go ahead and plug that in, and there's a small piece of filler strip that will hold that in position. And now you can connect all these connections, and they're all labeled. There's only one 4 pin, so just connect that right away. Then your 3 pin. Now just match up your load and eject. Make sure you get the snaps on there. Can't really plug it in wrong. And now, when you mount this, just kind of nest these all in to the back side of the enclosure, and make sure they don't get pinched. Like so. And one thing you do want to be careful of here is you don't want this red enclosure rubbing on a flatbed. So get your screws in there, and then before tightening them all down, check this gap right here, make sure it's not rubbing. If it is, just kind of back off and retighten down. So now, same procedure over here. Use your filler strip. Tuck your wires in here. so. And match up all your plugs. They only really plug in one way. Everything is labeled. Now, just nest them back in the enclosure. And slide it right on. Again, making sure you have good clearance here. Alright, and this T-nut can be a little tricky sometimes. Just make sure, before you put it in, loosen it all the way. Just till it's a couple threads on there. And then underneath, you put it up in the slot and start tightening it, and it'll turn and tighten into position. Alright, we're going to attach the lift bracket for the guide rail. When you get it, most likely these T-nuts are going to be tightened down all the way, and we need to loosen them. Not all the way, but just so they're in there a couple threads. And then start from the bottom of the rail. Line your wheels up. And then line your T-nuts up so they're going to fit right in this slot. Like so. Hold it into position. And then you want to keep an eye on the T-nut, because there is a way you can get this wrong. And just when you tighten it, make sure that T-nut turns 90 degrees and grabs the inside channel. So get them both so they turn 90. Once you have them turn 90, you can go ahead and tighten them down good. And repeat this same process on the other side. Alright, we're going to plug in the media sensor. Fish it up through this access hole right here, and then plug it in. Once it's plugged in, then there's a couple spots underneath where you can zip tie it into position. All right, after you have the cable zip tied into position, secure the cable into this bottom channel with a piece of filler strip, and then run it up around the side here and secure the access with another piece of filler strip on the side. Like so. Now we will install our rear enclosures. So there's a little tab that lines up in the slot, like so, and a one screw. So we're going to mount the motor cover guard, and they're a little different, so you got to make sure you get them in the right place. The one with the tab for the screw mount is going to be on the back side. The length of the slots is a little different too, so the one in the back is going to have shorter slots than the one on the front. So we are just going to slide this into position, and then we're going to meet in the middle with the other guard. So I have my rear bracket or rear cover moved up onto the mounting bracket. And I slide my front cover on and make sure it overlaps right here. That's where the two connect. And then we'll go ahead and get these screwed down.